Now, you're talking about a city of about 3 million people. We screened nothing. So we only had one message in the whole month that we pulled. And that was because someone complained, and we looked into, yeah, it was someone being an idiot. But out of the 1,200 calls we took, out of all the SMS, everything else, we had only one bad apple in the entire bunch. Everybody else held to the theme of the project, which was really cool. Next slide, if you.
What did you do to that guy?
We have no idea who it was. It was completely anonymous. This is the first one we took over the phone. I think I'm actually the first person in Montreal who heard it. The phone number got out early by accident because, of course, everyone at the Journal de Montréal got the phone number before everybody else in Montreal did. So the morning before we go live, we were doing some testing, and I noticed there was somebody on the system already, and we listened to the call, find out what it was, and this was the message they left us. So somewhere in Montreal, someone had just found out this piece of good news, and it was pretty awesome to know that somewhere out there, someone was having an amazingly good day and chose our system to share it with the world. The phrase I used in the meeting was that we'd given them an electronic mountaintop to yell off of. Next slide, please. So this is what the street looked like in daylight. You'll see up on the top right corner here, there's this red box. What that is a directional speaker aimed down at the street. And it basically fills the area there that's painted out. The Siquier Moral basically means the moral space or the good space. And that's all the information. It was done a little bit viral. So as you walk under this thing, you suddenly hear someone telling you you've got great hair. Or you'd hear someone say, hey, the price of beer's gone down. That was actually a message we took. Someone was happy about that. Let's come back. Come on. And of course, you'd have people stopping and looking around trying to figure out what the heck. And then eventually they'd think to look up. But we had a lot of people, because of the viral aspect, that's how we got a lot of it out. The initial push of 100,000 copies on the paper media was a start. But this is really how it got going, because the street this is on is one of the busiest thoroughfares in that part of the city. So just the passerby traffic. Next slide, please. So that was good conspiracy. It was really, by the way, that was the first project I ever used Adhesion for, other than writing the IVR for my own company. So, okay, in terms of lead time, in terms of the ability to jump in and do it, as I say, I'm not a hack. I'm a problem solver who uses computers. So for me, just that amount of power that I could work with something I knew, I knew Ruby a bit already. The language was immediately familiar, the dial plan was immediately familiar, the documentation wasn't terribly off-putting, which is such a problem usually with free open source stuff, that it allowed me to dive in and say, yeah, okay, Steph, I can save your world in 4 days, and was able to deliver. BlocJam was the same group a year later. They called me back. They were so thrilled with the results from Good Conspiracy, they wanted to do something even cooler this time around. MUTEC is the International Electronic Music Festival. It does a wandering tour around the world doing electronic music. It's a 4-day festival, hit Montreal this summer. And this is the promo and teaser that they pitched to the company that was the organization doing MUTEC. They wanted to do musical improv live from the street. As a mission statement, this sounds pretty cool. The idea is to be able to get people to walk by and make music with their cell phone, so that the result is a collective, collaborative music. Next slide. So again, what you don't really see very well, but you've seen probably in the video, is this building is about, I think it's 9 stories tall total. Each one of these it's a glass, concrete. So they had a projection array aimed at the building, again, same as last year, displaying a flash application showing the music that was being played, very much the way you see real simple beat makers currently. You get a scan line that goes from left to right. The difference was that this was being done in real time and interpreted in real time, and you could have 24 musicians playing at once. 3-piece harmony. There's a telephony server that was doing in the background. Basically, real-time key presses, updating a MySQL database that was being run from the Asterisk server. It was the only way we could keep the timing down. Was that the Asterisk box was also the SQL database server. And then that we had a machine who read the database constantly, updating the scan line position and reading the quote, reading the notes under the scan line out of the database in real time, composing the sounds that were being heard and playing them on a Nicecast stream, which was then piped back to the Asterisk server as a music on hold. From there, because that wasn't enough, we then had another application.
And he's not a hacker.
Because then we had an Adobe Flash application produced by a different company. There's 3 different companies doing this, plus the marketing company on top, keeping an eye on a bunch of us. We created a Flash application, reading from the database in real time, synchronized against the same scan line data, updating the graphic on the building. Okay? So when they first said, "This is what we want to do," and I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. So I said, how big a server are you buying? Well, we don't have a hardware budget. All right, this is going to be interesting. So the only way we could do it was to do, I think it was all total 4 different machines involved, and the only thing that glued them together was the database in the middle. Next slide, please. So this is the version 4. There were 6 revisions of the call flow diagram. They all got progressively more macabre as the project went on. But again, the whole thing's done in 2 languages. The first thing we had, because we had only 24 beats, but we had 30 trunks, what we had to be able to do is if whoever came in 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 would say, "Thank you, you can listen, but you can't play." So we had to trap for that. We had to trap, so the first thing you do is you want listening to music stream, you hit your pound key, and then suddenly you dropped into edit mode. Edit mode puts your phone number, only the last 4 digits for privacy reasons, up on the building, and you get here a music sample of the instrument you've been assigned. As you're told, track 3, beat 4. And you got 16 beats in your measure. Press your 4 key to back up, 6 key to move forward, 5 key to toggle. Don't forget, every time you key press, this is generating database. So that's what this call flow does. And when you're done, hit your pound key again, saves it, you're back into listening to music stream. Next slide. So this is where I get to brag a little bit about Adhearsion. It was a grid-hosted server running CentOS 5.4. PBX services were using Asterisk 1.4. I can hear people shuddering, just go with it. The database was MySQL. Every call was 2 to 3 database writes per second, depending on what the caller was doing. Some people really fast on the keys. And of course, we had this question from Mutech. What the hell is Adhearsion? So I wrote that brief so that my client could explain to their client what the hell Adhearsion was. And this is what it is. I mean, we all know this, but to the business people of the world, when you say, "Hi, I'm going to use Whoppity Splat as the way to save your world," they'd like some more information. A miracle happens here is insufficient. So, that's the blurb that I put forward to them. Yeah, reserve that now.
Quick before Matthew.
Whoppity Splat.
Well,
So-
I think 4 of us would reserve it because there's got to be at least that many ways to spell it.
And don't forget .net and .org. So next slide, please. But this seemed to do it for them. It was just a. This is my way of proving to you guys I am not really a programmer. I'm very pedantic. I don't take shortcuts. I spell it all out. And this is what's in my dial plan RB. Everything else was outside. My programming style is I hate monoliths. So what I do is I create a subdirectory called, in this case it was Mutech and it contained a whole bunch of other .rb files that had the rest of the brains of the program in it.
Did you know that spacebar can be used as a indentation?
Yeah, actually, I actually use E, which is a TextMate clone. It's just that every time I was, for whatever reason, every time I tried to put that back into this slide, it ripped out all the formatting. So yeah, the actual code is actually properly indented, tab spaced, and the rest of it.
Because if you were writing Python, that would never work.
That's the reason I don't write Python, by the way. because I'm horribly inconsistent. All I do indent, but sometimes like I put the end over under the whole column as opposed to over by the if, and I found out the new version of Rails hates that, so I'm gonna have to stop doing that. But the point being is that it's still eminently readable even for a guy who doesn't do this as a full-time gig. So, but I just want to disabuse you guys of the idea there's some real clever stuff going on under the hood. No, this is my programming. So next slide. This is the summary statement. The server was in Northern California. The service provider is in Southern California. The DID termination was in the north quarter of Montreal. The sound machine was on the south bank of the city. And the music system and the projector was actually in the downtown running off a DSL connection, sitting 5 stories up, hung off the side of a tower. Everything was glued together to the user's perception either by the database or the live music stream. Without adhesion, this project I do not think was possible. There was just too complex. I can't imagine trying to use asterisks, ODBC calls in line fast enough to keep up with a teenager who can without even looking knows where all the keys on his cell phone are and has got music to make on a wall screen. I can't imagine doing it with pure asterisk.
What did this sound like?
You're going to find out in a minute because I actually have a video to show you guys, which is the newest version of the video, and it actually shows the music. We started out with a little bit of a hip-hop theme to it, and it sounded pretty cool, but we decided that unfortunately, it wasn't electronic enough. Hip-hop was neat. They tried to, and the great thing was because of the way it was working, you could just replace all the instruments just by dropping in new sound files in the back end of it. So we went through 4 or 5 different iterations at the user level, and the test group actually decided that the thing that sounded the most electronic and the least sectional in terms of a particular music group was essentially a Tubular Bells kind of sound. So that's what we went with, kind of classic world music. So next slide, please. Again, you can see someone's got an iPhone there. That's them playing. He's got the 4 key pressed, and up the top of the building, what isn't showing very well is the music segment he's editing. So you can, but that's the idea. So we went through 5 full agile iterations in 12 days. Literally write it, send it to the user group. They hate it. Write it again. Send it to the test group. They hate it. Keep going. Then about halfway through, we realized we had a serious problem, which is that when we actually put it downtown on a test schedule, we discovered the lag at the DSL connection was so bad that we're up to almost half a second in delay. And that's between all 3 pieces. Each one was half a second different than all of them. We resolved that by actually doing a dynamic ping of all 3 points on the network, and then doing an aggregate delay, and then updating the Flash application in real time, and then varying a couple other things. That kind of got too trendy for me, but we were using ping statistics in real time to figure out how much to wiggle the numbers about. The effect is from the customer point of view, the guy in the street, it all looked and sounded right. Pretty cool. About 500 lines of adhesion code behind it, none of it indented. 500 lines of active record models because we had 5 or 7 tables behind this that we needed to make it all work. At its peak, busy nights, we had 30 calls on the go, 24 edits, 6 streaming, all happening, and it was all being done by asterisk adhesion, so pretty cool. Next slide.
Oh, there was a...
No, you're right. It was a trip over. So just roll it back one so I can point out the good news. We took 900 calls in 5. They're called by definition. We're using in front of a building as a projection screen. It had to be dark. So from 9 o'clock until 2 a.m. for 4 nights in a row, 5 hours about, we took 900 calls, which is, by any all considerations, a pretty good success, considering there was no advertising beyond the hell they're doing with that building. I mean, and you'll see one of the pictures in the next slide. It just dominated everywhere. The headline is sight on the building face. Next slide, please. So that's what it looked like, the top left one, about 3 blocks away. Now, on this slide over here, and I want to point this out, these people have got umbrellas. The reason is because opening night, because this is just the way stuff works, it was raining and the raindrops were the size of my hand. It was a torrential downpour, and we still had people out under their umbrellas playing with their cell phones going, oh my God, this is cool. On the left-hand side is the AV guy and the project manager, who are standing back under a bus shelter for a subway station, and the water comes all the way up to there. They got about 3.5 feet, and their power cord is kind of sitting in a puddle, and it was just, this is test night, all right? So they're going, oh God, please let the weather improve. And this is what the building looked like up close. So this is just having gotten into edit mode. The first thing we did is zeroed the measure. So as soon as you get in, you get a clean slate. And here you can see someone's toggled over a few. Over here you can see they've got one that's turned on. And you can see we've got the phone, the last 4 digits. We black out the first piece for privacy reasons. You don't want someone annoying you while you're playing music. So that's snapshots from the street on test night and then opening night, and it was pretty cool. Next, please. So a few quotes. Mona Andros is was part of the brains behind the whole project. She's the one who came to me about it, and this is her take on it. She likes to create art exhibits that join people and technology through all the senses. So that was part of the genesis of BlocJam. It was part of the genesis of Good Conspiracy. She's an internationally recognized award-winning designer. You can look her up on Google. Werner von Braun, I love this quote. Of course, he's the guy who came up with the rocket program. And what I've learned from this is that, because when they came up to me and said, so here's what we want to do. We're going to have 24 people standing out on the street, looking at a building that's got a projection on it, and they're all going to be using their cell phones to edit music in real time. Mute button, you're going to do what? I don't like saying anything's impossible, because what I've found is, particularly within the type of work that we all do, impossible is the usual business condition. So I always like to remember that quote. And of course, the last one's me. I consider myself very, very lucky. I get to build people's dreams, and I'm working with people like Mona and her company is just fabulous work. So, and kind of as an extension of that, what I really like is the fact that I've had tremendous support from you guys via IRC and all the resources that are about there that has made the next quote not impossible. So, thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so stop me if you've seen this before. This is show you the BlocJam. Just back up one for a second. You can leave that up and just hang on. I'm gonna hike over to my machine and toggle which one we got up on the screen. I got 2 things to show you.
Wait, if you want to show the video, look, I should probably do that here.
Okay,
I've got a copy of it.
You can run it off your machine?
Yep.
Great. Do that, please. This is the subtitle release version, because all the interviews, of course, are in French. I don't know about you guys. I don't think most of you live in New Orleans, so.
Give me 2 seconds.
Yep, no worries.
You didn't grab a laptop. If you can't play this on DNC, I just want to grab one.
I was just going to say I can run it off of my machine.
He's playing local.
There we go.
So,
I
can you pop that up to full screen by any chance?
I don't think so.
Control shift.
Zoom.
Well, I'll tell you what. The people on the
Control scroll local.
Ustream that don't get a copy of this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can post a link for that.
Yeah,
Give me a second. I'll put the real thing up.
okay.
This will be better.
It's a valiant effort, though. I know what you were going for.
Yeah.
They wouldn't see him from anywhere.
You can see the grain there going through the glass.
Is that audio from this?
Yes, that's what it sounded like.
Well,
Yeah, it's awful dark.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah, it's itching up a lot.
Let it buffer up there for a second.
Yeah.
It's a local file.
Oh, it's a local file.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Did we lose audio?
The QuickTime's being stupid.
You might just play it back from YouTube or the VLC or something.
I'll try. Yeah, VLC. Okay.
Might be quicker to reproduce the entire project and project it up here live so you can see it.
There we go.
I actually, the only snag I wanted to do that actually was to basically be able to bring it and let you guys play with it, but I couldn't get a hold of the guy who owns the Flash applications.
There's no flash.
expliquer un petit peu le process? Moi, je comprends rien du tout à ce qui se
C'est
passe.
mademoiselle. Oula, je suis peut-être pas la meilleure pour enregistrer.
Mais de ce que tu comprends, c'est quoi?
Explique. C'est un jeu d'expression musicale en direct de la rue. Donc on appelle et on nous assigne une case à l'intérieur.
So yeah, what she's saying there is basically explaining how it works. You log in, play the music, and then you can sort of hear your own beats played back to you. And by the end of it, you start taking place as collective musical effort. What we might do is, if everyone wants a few minutes there, we'll put everyone cluster on my laptop and we'll watch it in real color.
Yeah, sorry.
No, this just isn't working, so just can it.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll put up the link to the version I want to show you guys.
Adhearsion just tweeted it as well.
Okay, cool. The last slide is just basically how to get a hold of me. If you guys have got any further questions or stuff, but I think I had originally expected this to be a half hour, so that's what I kind of gauged for. But so we got plenty of time if you guys want to ask questions or what have you. Yeah. So any questions? Yeah.
You've done 2 so far. Do you think you're going to do another with these 2?
I've already talked to them about it. They're already. It's actually. Right now, the actual plan is that BlocJam itself is going to take up a second leg of life. They're actually looking at 2 or 3 other music festivals this summer around North America, and possibly one in Australia. And then if that happens, then they're looking at basically taking a little bit of the time and effort and expanding the project. One thing they really wanted to be able to do was sort of make a game out of it, where you could actually edit by scan line. So as you watch the little pulse go by, you could just tap the 5 key to turn the thing on and off without even having to really cursor toggle if you didn't want to. So we couldn't make that work very well last time because of the delay issues, the network delay issues. So, but my understanding is, at least for BlocJam, yes, there's going to be another iteration. Me personally, I've already talked to Muna and Melissa about it, and told them, let me know as soon as you guys got another project like this. Let me know, because for them, voice is part of communication. So any social project that they want to do is going to have a voice component. So then certainly, yeah, at this point in time. Yes.
So I'm curious, you illustrated how disparate all the components were. You had California pieces and Montreal pieces and all this. Out of curiosity, why did you go with that?
Because we didn't have a choice. We didn't have a hardware budget. My preference would have been to have dropped an 8-way processor box somewhere and had the entire project run off the one location. Put it in an armored transport box, put it up right beside the projector and be done with it. But lag 0. But it just wasn't an option. So at that point in time, the next question, the telephony server lived for 9 days. Yeah, basically the length of development followed by play, and then it was taken out. It was a VPS. Et cetera, et cetera. That's just the way it was done.
Did you have much load on that server? I know you were mixing audio.
Well,
you were streaming it in for the music on hold, but you had to mix the audio. Was that running?
Mixing was being done at a different location.
Okay.
So from the telephony side, it was actually fairly straightforward in terms of load, but it was running a SQL server. It was listening to an IceCast. And it was handling the up to 30 calls at once, and I don't think the load got up above .1 at the worst of days. I think I actually caused more aggravation SSHing into the box constantly to look at it than the actual project did. So, cool. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. So if you want to take 2 minutes and everyone jump around my laptop, I'll show you what the video looked like.
It's very cool. So it's a new one, you said?
Yeah, it is. It's the latest version.
So
the original version was never supposed to have gotten out, but apparently when I told someone, he didn't understand that and tweeted the world with it. So that was never supposed to be the finished version.
Yeah, Mr. Days.
So